Hey there, Kaitlyn. Just going to offer you some feedback on your latest AP practice essay. This was the prose prompt over McTeague, the uh, unsanitary dentist. And I believe the prompt asked you to talk about how the narrator characterizes their attitude towards McTeague, and I think it asked you to consider things like diction and tone and detail and all those things. Okay, so this is the first one of these videos I've done for you, so just a quick run through of how these go. I try to make them brief. Try is the key word there. I go over the things that you do well at first, then I point out any weaknesses I see, and then I give you my score, and I try and justify my scoring over that. Since I'm trying to be brief, if there's anything that I don't go over in enough detail, if you're confused about anything, any of the comments that I make in the video or on your document, just ask me in class. I'll be more than happy to go more in depth or explain any of my comments on here. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get started. So there's a lot of good things in this essay, a lot of strong writing. One of my favorite things about this essay is your hook at the beginning. When you write, "Have you ever entered your local dentistry to find a bird in the parlor, or the owner's bed in the office, or his practical textbooks visible on the shelf, or the dentist ripping patients' teeth out with his fingers?" That's an excellent hook. It's excellent for a number of reasons. Number one, it shows that you've read the prompt, right? It's a nice way to sort of summarize a large portion of the plot without actually summarizing the plot in your individual paragraphs. And it's funny. You're acknowledging some humor here. So anytime you can get your reader laughing, right? Laughing about something clever that you've written or something funny that you've written, as opposed to them laughing about the fact that you don't know where to put commas or you don't capitalize anything. Anytime you get your audience laughing the right way, that's a good sign. So it's a brilliant hook. I think your thesis is strong. If we go down here, I think focusing on diction and selection of detail is wise, and you do a good job of specifying exactly how the narrator perceives McTeague. You write he perceives him as unintelligent and unprofessional. So the thesis answers the prompt, and it's solid. Your individual paragraphs follow slice format well. They're organized well, again, between selection of detail and you put word selection here, but you mean diction. I think you've got some excellent quotes in here that back up your claims. Your individual paragraphs work for me, and I think you've got a pretty solid conclusion. So overall, I feel like the essay is well organized. I feel like there's some really good word choice in here. I've highlighted this sentence in particular. They epitomize the grungy and unprofessional atmosphere of his establishment. Again, the word choice in there is stellar. Great verb, great adjective there with grungy and unprofessional. Just well written overall. You have several instances of just really solid writing throughout. So good job on all of those. Keep all of those going. I think you're in good shape, at least for where we are in the semester right now. If we move now into things that I feel like the essay could do a little bit better, there's just a couple of things that I noticed. Actually, I think there might be three. In your opening paragraph, we need a little bit more connective tissue. It feels like you kind of jump from your hook to your thesis um, without properly connecting them. This is that weird kind of complicated idea known as flow. It doesn't flow well here. And basically, it's like if your hook is A and your thesis is C, we're kind of missing that connective B there. You're kind of going from A to C. That might take a little bit of tweaking. Look that over and see if you know what I'm talking about. If not, come see me in class. But that was small. The big things that I saw were 18 and 20, and I'm going to hand out a worksheet in class that explains what these numbers mean. But I can go ahead and tell you in the video. 18 is passive voice, and 20 is verb tense shift. So if we just look at one here, and I noticed a lot of 18s, you didn't have very many 20s. But if we look at this sentence here, word selection is heavily employed by the author to exhibit the narrator's perception of McTeague's intelligence. Now, the word choice in there is good. We've got some good verbs, exhibit. We've got some good nouns in there, perception and intelligence. The problem is it's too long, right? Or it's too long for what it's saying. It's too wordy. That's the word. you can say it in fewer words. And the reason that I know that is because this is in passive voice. You say word selection is heavily employed by the author. What you need to do is flip the subject and the object. The author employs, or heavily employs, the author heavily employs word selection to exhibit the narrator's perception of McTeague's intelligence. Right? And now you've said the same thing, I think, in two fewer words. I don't have the calculator in front of me, but generally speaking, passive voice it's not always bad, but it has a tendency to make your writing wordier than it needs to be. And when we're striving for command of language, we don't want words in our essays that don't need to be there, and we don't want phrases that take 10 words to say the same thing that could have been said in 3 words. So I've highlighted a few of those. 20 is verb tense shift. I think I'm going to have to go over this in class as a whole, and I may have touched on it a little bit, but you always stay in present tense. So this shouldn't be the narrator introduced McTeague. It should be the narrator introduces McTeague. And that's just kind of a quirky feature of writing literary analysis. It's a small thing, but trust me, it will count big on the AP exam. So I've estimated your score as a 7. I feel like it answers the prompt fully, and I feel like there's some great word choice in here. The things that hold it back from that 8 to 9, some of it is what I've highlighted on here, and then it just says that 8s and 9s are quote they have more sophisticated analysis. The one thing that I feel like you might have missed in the essay is kind of the humor that's going on here. You do mention irony somewhere. Yeah, they comment ironically on McTeague's dreams, but you never really delve into that. You never delve into kind of the complexity of the narrator's attitude. You do a good job of arguing that the narrator thinks that he's slovenly and sloppy, but you don't do as strong of a job of explaining kind of the nuances of it, right? That the narrator, you could argue, actually pities McTeague because McTeague has a lot of good qualities, but he's deluded. He's not going to achieve his dreams. He has all these awesome dreams, but he has none of the capabilities to achieve them. And I feel like the 8 to 9 range essays, when we talk about sophisticated analysis, they kind of delve into that, the complexity of that emotion of pity that the narrator feels towards McTeague. But again, this is your first prose essay that you've written by yourself. Scoring a 7 on your first essay, many people are going to struggle to hit this score throughout the entire year. So you're in a great place. Keep up the great work. If you will, tweak the things that I've noted here. You'll have some time in class to do that. And if you have any questions or concerns or comments, as always, you know where to find me. But that's it for this video. Hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in class very soon.